Hey everyone, I hope that you all are having an absolutely wonderful weekend and a wonderful day today. Today I'm here to do my first ever highlight and bronzer collection video. I actually didn't have any highlighter at the beginning of the year. I just got into it this year and I've been enjoying myself immensely, but I do try to keep my collection very curated, especially since highlighter and bronzer, while I especially can enjoy the highlighters, I don't want a massive collection. So you're probably gonna hear me lots of oohing and eyeing and just general oohing over my collection today. Today's tea of the day is Tazo Earl Grey. It's a strong Earl Grey actually. Some Earl Greys I can leave the tea bag in like the whole time and just drink it. Not so with the Tazo, even 2 minutes like I did this time. It's a bit much. Pretty strong. All right, let's get to the overhead collection video. Okay, so here we are with my highlight and bronzer collection. I thought first we could start with the bronzer. So I'm going to move all the highlighters out. So yes, this is the extent of my my bronzer collection. I only have 2. It's just because, for one thing, I'm not confident with bronzer. I feel like when I see it on other people and it's too heavy, I really don't like it. I'm afraid of honestly doing that on myself, and I really just don't like that look. So whenever I do use bronzer, I use a very light hand. I don't feel like a need to collect a lot of different tones of bronzer or to experiment with bronzer. It's just kind of a category that scares me a little bit, but I do have these 2. So this one came as a sample in a subscription box. Obviously it is from Tarte and it is the Park Avenue Princess Bronzer. Currently have this in a project pan and I've had this for quite a while. You can see the dip that's going on in there. This is a decently like glowy bronzer, not intensely glowy, but it does definitely have some glow to it. I like how on camera my hand is looking really pink. I'm not usually that pink. And if you're wondering about the lighting situation, it's just the window here in front of me. I don't have any other lights on. So you can see it's got a glow to it, but nothing too horrible. And it's not too orange. This is something I can make work for me. Plus, it's just not that intensely pigmented. Like I really swirled my finger in there to get that swatch. And when I use a brush, not a whole lot gets picked up. So that is one thing I do like about this one, is that I don't have to be super careful. I mean, you can build it up, obviously, if you want to, but it's just not a scary bronzer. So it's okay. That's why I keep it around. This one, however, is like the very first bronzer I've ever tried where I actually want to use it. I bought this on a recommendation from a friend. This is the shade Heat Wave, the luminous bronzer from Flower Beauty, and you can tell it just looks really, really cool toned, and it's got that swirled marbly look in there, and it does have a little bit of glow to it as well, but again, nothing too intense. And I just love, 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 love that tone. Oh boy, it's not really, maybe I need to set up another light. I'll be right back and see if I can get this so it can show up a little better. Okay, I think this light is a little bit better. So you can see that the Tarte definitely has more warmth in it, but this at the same time does not look like contour. It does look like an actual bronze, and I feel like this light is making it look more glowy than it really is. I mean, it is a pretty heavy swatch. I was trying to get the color to show more. Maybe that shows it a little bit better, but this I feel like is such a natural look for me. I wouldn't call myself a super like porcelain fair or anything, but I do have pretty pale skin, and a cooler bronzer like this just seems to be a lot more natural looking on me. And like I said, this is the first bronzer where I actually wanted to reach for it every day. Sadly, I'm neglecting it because I'm panning this one at the moment, but this is the one I want to use every day, and I feel like I don't really need another one since I enjoy this one so much. It does have more of a light pigment. It's very buildable. You don't need to be afraid about going in with too much. It's just really, really lovely. I love this. Anyway, that is my bronzer collection. Okay, now let's talk about perhaps like glowy primer type products. I'm not really into glowy primers. I've just tried out a couple of them. This one I'm currently panning from Smashbox. This is the Photo Finish Radiance foundation primer, and I would like it a little bit more if it wasn't quite so dark. I find I can't really go in heavy-handed with this. Pretty dark on me, but but if I use a little bit, I can blend it out and it works okay. So I mostly just use it on the high points of my face to add a little bit of glow. I did not like the effect when I used it all over my face. I felt like it really emphasized the pores around my nose. So that was a no-go for me. So it's just taking me a really long time to use this up since I can only use a little bit at a time. Then we have, this is something that's pretty new to my collection, the Maybelline Perfector 4-in-1 Glow Makeup. I have the shade 00 Fair Light. This I've been enjoying more. I really like how this looks. Almost gives like a filtered effect. This is the lightest shade, but you can see it's not really that light. But again, if I sheer it out, I can use it for like a glowy highlight on the top of my cheekbones. I've also tried this all over my face. The first time I tried it, I really didn't like it, but I think it was what I paired it with, because I tried it again a second time with a more matte foundation, and this was actually really, really pretty. I loved how that looked. Like I said, it kind of gave that impression of a filter on the skin, but with just really kind of a healthy glow. And I've heard reviews from others that say they actually use this as their foundation BB cream product, and they just use concealer to cover anything that needs covering. But actually I can see how that would be. At first, when I tried this product, I was like, no way, it'll be too much. But actually, no, it's very, very pretty. Let's move on to cream highlights. Okay, so I have 2 cream highlights. Oh, my ring light's reflecting there. Hello. That little extra light does seem to be helping a little bit, so I'll leave it on. Let's start with this Flower Beauty. Flower is really blowing it out of the park with their products that I have tried. I haven't tried a whole lot of things from them, but the things I have tried, I love them. And this Day Glow Highlighting Glaze, I have the shade Stunner is stunning. What do you know? So it looks like a balm. When you first see these types of things, I always think of like, I don't know, Vaseline with like a little glitter in it or something. I'm always kind of skeptical, but this one, you guys, it's so pretty. It just feels really, really smooth. And when you just kind of tap it on your skin, it creates the most beautiful, wet looking, dewy look, but without being sticky. Just look how pretty that is. Oh, I love that so much. That kind of mirror-like glass skin effect, honestly, kind of what I'm going for. Oh, that is so pretty. And I haven't had any negative experiences with it making my cheeks break out, or with it sitting weird on top of other products, or playing oddly with other formulas. It seems to play well with most things, at least the things that I've tried. And of course there's a hair in it, always. Cream products, that's the one thing that can get kind of gross looking. I think there's only 2 shades of this. The other shade is more golden. This shade definitely was the one that I wanted, and yeah, that makes me so happy. I love it. This other one I also recently purchased. Well, I mean, okay, I got these all this year. They're all relatively recent purchases. This is the ColourPop Super Shock in the shade Lunch Money, and oh my goodness, I love this too. It is so smooth. I mean, it's a completely different formula than the Flower Beauty one. It is kind of like a light gold, but it's so thin and so spreadable. Like you can really keep it natural, or you can build it up a little bit more. Both of these are more natural highlights that are kind of just give your skin kind of that glistening, glowy, super healthy look. And I gotta say, I'm a fan of both of them. Do I need both of them? No, but I enjoy playing with different formulas. Like I do enjoy having variety, so I enjoy very much having these both in my stash. Okay, so now we come to powder highlights. Let's do a little Mary Lou here first. So this is a mini. I got this actually from another YouTuber. I actually bought this NARS highlight off of her. I'll get to that next. And she sent this along just as a little free gift. I thought that was so nice. So this is a very classic highlight. A lot of people have this one. Mary Luminizer from The Balm. While I do really like it, I think actually it's very pretty on the skin. I like the tone for my skin color. It, in comparison to some of my other formulas, isn't my absolute favorite, but I still really like it, if that makes sense. So you can see it is more of a natural highlight. That's kind of a bad swatch. In comparison to other highlights, it does have a little bit more gold in it. This is what I was wearing buffed on my cheekbones in intro, it's a pretty highlight. I enjoy it. I can see why it was so popular for so many years, because it does give more of that glowy effect versus beaming, you know? Let's talk about this one next. So this was one of the highlights when I decided I was gonna try highlights. I knew this was one that I wanted to try. It just has so many good reviews for a long time. So this is the shade Fort de France. This is another highlight that's more of a natural highlight. But I find that you can build this up, especially if you use like setting spray afterward. This, you can make this really, really striking, but it's so beautiful because it doesn't have any glitters in it, which I really hate it when highlighters have glitters. It is just a smooth, really, really beautiful highlight. Oh, it's so nice. Swatching on the hand is never the same as putting on the face. I think you guys can probably appreciate that, but here at least you can see the more kind of gold tone of this, but it's not too gold. I wouldn't want something super, super gold. This still works with my skin color, but every time I use it, I'm really, really happy with the effect that I get. Let's talk about another one that I just, oh, I love this so much. So this is from Nabla. This is the skin glazing in the shade Ozone. When I decided I was going to try out highlights, this was another one that I was like, I have to try that one because it looked like it gives the appearance of a cream. It has that baked gelée formula I'm a huge fan of. And when you buff it out on your cheeks, it gives, again, the impression of just kind of a wet, dewy look. Not super metallic, like kind of like how it looks right now. But the more you kind of work with the pearls, they get kind of polished looking. And it just kind of gives that wet, dewy look that I enjoy personally so much in a highlight. That was a big win for me. Loved this one. Another baked highlighter that I love so much. So this was not on my list to try. Like, I had like a very curated list to try, but I spotted this at TJ Maxx, and this is another one that I had heard rave reviews about for years. This is the Double Gleam Extra Dimension Skin Finish. I think out of all my highlights, this is probably the most blinding. But when I go in with a light hand, I have the same reaction as I do with the NARS one and the Nabla one. Like, I just love it so much. Oh, it's beautiful. Where am I gonna put it? Oh, look at that. Oh, it's so beautiful. So you can see in comparison, I feel like the Ozone one is kind of more neutral. NARS is a little more, Fort de France is a little more golden, whereas MAC Double Gleam is definitely more on the champagne, although that was kind of a heavy swatch. Again, none of these have any glitters. They give that mirrored skin effect that I love so much. If I had to choose a favorite between these three, I don't think I could. I enjoy all of them equally. I really, really love them. Let's talk about this Becca highlight. So I got this one again at TJ Maxx. This is the shade Rose Quartz. I've been curious about these, even though I just got into highlight this year. These are the highlights that I always heard talked about the most, I felt like. This was like a special edition one, hence like the flower imprint. And I find that I do enjoy this one as well. Like, I don't go kind of gaga over it as I did for the other ones, but I do enjoy it. So that is the shade. Blended out though, you can make it, you know, definitely more subtle if you want, or of course you can bring it up high wattage if you want. But I like it because even though it's pink toned, it's not too pink, which I don't really want like a pink stripe on my face. This one I feel like melts right into the skin and looks really, really pretty. So I enjoy it. I do. Next up, I have some highlights from Sydney Grace. Let's do the loose one first. So this is the shade Candied Peach. I think that their loose highlights actually, between their two formulas, are my favorite. Again, if you go in with just a little bit of this, you can keep it from becoming too beaming, but you can also really amp it up if you wish. This is definitely a different shade than any of my other highlights, so I do enjoy it for that. More on the peachy side for sure. Again, no glitter, just shine, which So good. And since it's a loose highlight, I feel it's nice and thin as well, which I'm kind of discovering I prefer in highlights. So for instance, I do have 2 pressed pigment highlights from Sydney Grace. These came in mystery bags. Let's talk about this pink one first. This one I'm thinking I'm going to take out of my highlight collection and actually put into my eyeshadow collection. Granted, it'll be a giant 7-gram eyeshadow. This is the shade Swinging Vines, and I find that I do prefer the Becca one to this. I feel like this formula, while very, very pretty, is a little thick for my taste. Like, I just don't think I enjoy these more thick formulas as much as I do the super thin ones. I mean, it's very pretty, don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to be really picky with my highlights. And I had a feeling that when I'm reaching for a pink highlighter, I'm definitely going to be reaching for this Becca one, just because it's not quite so pink versus this one. This one would probably look better on someone with a deeper skin tone than I do. So yeah, I think this one, I'm not going to declutter it or anything, but I think I will probably use it more often as an eyeshadow. This one has that same more thick formula, but I think I'm going to keep it in my highlight collection since I don't have anything else like it. So this is the shade Majestic. And when I have worn this, I have just used a very sparing hand, and it actually just kind of looked icy, like just kind of cool toned on my cheeks versus actually purple. I don't know where, let's see, let's put it here. So that is a heavy, heavy swatch. And so that's not how it looks on my cheeks when I use it on my face. Let's see if I can try and blend it out even a little bit more over here. There, that's more how it looks when I use it on my face. So I actually really like it when I'm going for a more very, very cool toned look. I feel like it really adds to it. But I gotta admit, it's just not my first choice in formula, even though it is nice. I'm not trying to knock it. Just I find I like the baked gelée formulas more. Alright guys, that was my bronzer and highlight collection. Thank you so much for watching and just enjoying the shininess with me. I love just doing this with my stash. It is super, super fun. Thanks for joining me today, guys. I'll see you very soon in my next one. Bye!